Hi, welcome to my channel. If you are new, thank you so much for stopping by. If you don't know us, then my name's Ruth and I've got a 22-month-old little boy called Jet, and we are expecting baby number 2 in 2 weeks. Well, due date's in 2 weeks. And I'm married to Henry, who sometimes makes the odd appearance in these videos. Apologies for the lighting. It is the most depressing grey day outside. I'm sat by 3 big windows and it's just so dark. I'm also at that stage of pregnancy where I feel like I haven't been running around. I'm just sat still talking and I already find myself getting out of breath. So apologies about that. But yeah, as you can tell from the title of this video, I thought I'd just talk a bit about my thoughts on home birth versus hospital birth. So with Jet, I had a hospital birth. I was really happy with the hospital. We live in Brighton and the midwives were amazing. I had a pool room that was gorgeous. It was 11th, 12th floor up in this big high building looking out over the sea. Really nice atmosphere in the room, like really calm. They could lower the light. It didn't feel really clinical, like it felt like a really nice place to be. We also then totally lucked out because they were really full, and so after birth, rather than being put on the labour ward, we got put into a private room. So that whole first day, Jet was born at 6 AM and we went home at like 4 PM. So that whole day we were just in this private room, totally undisturbed, with an ensuite, just getting to know Jet, the 3 of us, napping, being brought tea and toast, and it was just amazing. But obviously I'm aware that that's not necessarily the typical hospital experience. We just lucked out. My hospital experience was great, but I've been thinking a lot about home birth, and my kind of second stage of labour, like from kind of 4 centimetres onwards, went really quickly. I remember the midwife saying kind of just after Jet was born, she was like, oh wow, you labour very quickly, you should definitely think about home birth next time. And I hadn't really thought much about it, and then throughout this pregnancy it's been kind of playing more on my mind, so I've been looking more into it. I've spoken to some friends who've had home births and we've spoken to our midwife. We were supposed to have a home visit last week, but annoyingly we weren't back in time, but we're going to have another one. But I'm speaking to a midwife again tomorrow as well about it. But yeah, just thought I'd do a video on the kind of pros and cons of both, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions about home birth. I know for me, before I started having children, if you said to me home birth, I just thought it sounded, to be honest, quite unsafe. I thought stuff, surely a lot more must go wrong because you're just at home. I thought it sounded quite hippie-ish, not really my kind of thing. I thought, you know, if you have a home birth, you also then kind of straight away eat your placenta and do a little dance. I don't know. I just judged it, I think. Yeah, I judged it. My hardest point of labour was the journey into hospital. So, I mean, you can see all this. I've done a whole birth video about my birth with Jet, so I'll link that below if you want to kind of hear the whole thing. It was an amazing birth. We used hypnobirthing, genuinely loved it. But the hardest part was the journey into hospital. Sorry if my voice sounds weird, I've got another cold. I literally got rid of my cold for about 10 days and then I've got one again, so that's fun. The journey into hospital, we went in initially, and I knew at the time we were going in too early, but I think first baby, I just thought, oh, if we go in, we're just kind of being proactive, so then maybe something will happen, but obviously it didn't, and we were too early, so they sent us home again because they were so full. So then the second time we went in, I had progressed a lot very quickly. So it was about 1 or 2 AM and I was having incredibly intense, very close together contractions. Obviously was at home, so wasn't having any kind of pain relief, and I'd been in the bath had gone quite cold. I wasn't even getting that kind of nice warm water to relieve the pain. And then we phoned the hospital and I reached that kind of point where my mind just was blocking me. I just decided that I'd had enough, and I just said, do you know what, I can't go in. I can't possibly go in. It felt like about a million hurdles between me and being in hospital. The thought of having to get dressed, get in the car, get to hospital, get up to the right floor, just felt like an impossibility. This is when hypnobirthing was incredible, because Henry had also done hypnobirthing, and so he was able to then say all the right things and get me in the right frame of mind. And so we were able to get there and it was fine, but that was definitely my lowest point, and it did take us a long time. In each contraction there was no way I could do anything other than sit on my birthing ball and breathe through the contraction. And when they're coming every minute and lasting about a minute, it takes a long time to get anything done. We eventually got into hospital, and I think my slight concern this time is, first of all, I didn't love that journey. It was hard work, but also that if I do labour quicker this time, which is very often you labour quicker with your second child, what if I am one of those car park birth people? That is why home birth has started to be more on my mind. So for me, the biggest priority in labour is water. I had a water birth with Jet. I found the water so incredibly powerful. I didn't need any other pain relief. I didn't have any gas and air or anything during the labour because I found the water so comforting. So that for me is my priority more than where I actually am giving birth. So that obviously then makes a home birth that bit more complex. So I've been looking into water births as well at home. So there's websites you can hire the pool, and then it kind of comes with everything you need. So there's like a hose that goes from the pool to your tap, and you fill it from your tap, and then you have a liner that's just for your use, and so that's kind of keeps it nice and hygienic. A friend gave really good advice actually. She bought loads of big shower curtains, just really cheap basic ones, and used them to kind of like line all the floor around the pool. We're gonna go ahead prepped for a home birth, but open to either. Because I did actually really enjoy being in the hospital, it's not at all that I don't want a hospital birth, but I'd like to have the option that if I think, do you know what, I think we've gone too far now, I think this baby's gonna come really soon, that I know we've got a pool at home and we can just do it there, rather than having a terrifying journey into hospital thinking maybe I'm gonna give birth in our new car. I'll talk about pros and cons. So for me, pros of a home birth: there's no journey into hospital. You stay in that safe place the whole time. There's no point where you have to change your scenery. So I can have it all set up the whole time. I can have candles lit, the music that I want playing. I can have set the atmosphere, and it gives the whole labour real fluidity because you're not going anywhere. There's no sudden jarring moment where you're kind of put in a cold car and driven somewhere else. You just stay in your home, you stay cozy and calm, and I think just feeling really safe. That for me is really important, especially within hypnobirthing. It talks a lot about that kind of safe place that you create for yourself. So that's the main bonus for me, the main pro. The cons for me for home birth are post-birth. I think it's quite a lot for Henry. I think he's been amazing. He's obviously said, you're the one giving birth, so we'll do whatever you want, but it is more of an ask for him. He will need to empty the pool, which probably is not the funnest job, and clean up the shower curtains that we'd lay out. And also, you are kind of hosting the midwife. Obviously the midwives are amazing and they don't impose at all, but they do need to know about parking. Do you have permits? There's like a kind of form of things you need to have had, and you know, they're there for a good few hours, and so they need snacks and drink, somewhere to sit. You just need to be aware that you've got someone else in your home and you're kind of hosting them. And so that for Henry is another thing for him to be thinking about while he's also trying to help me. Then also post-birth, I was talking to my friend about it, and obviously for her it was an amazing perk that post-birth she just was then able to get straight back into her own bed rather than into a hospital bed. But what that comes with is that you need to have then got a lot of stuff to prepare for that. Obviously you do lose blood after birth. Just generally, regardless of injury, your body's emptying out itself. As lovely as it is that you just go straight into your own bed, I think it's all the faff around that slightly puts me off. So you'd need to buy a lot of protective sheets or pads or kind of absorbent. Obviously you just need to protect your bed from the fact that post-birth you're going to bleed. It's weird though, because in a way that's a pro, because you're in your own home and so you go into your own bed, but it's just the faff that comes with it. But I think once you've got all that stuff, it's fine. I think that's the thing with the home birth, you just need to think a lot about the stuff, and all that stuff is just at hospital ready for you anyway, whereas at home you need to think about it and you need to get it. I'm not very organised and don't really prep very well in advance. I think the fact that you have your creature comforts, you're at home, anything you think of that you might need, you don't need to remember to pack a hospital bag in the same way because obviously you're at home. I think there's a few misconceptions about home birth. You can still have pain relief. They still come with like a gas canister thing, so you can be having gas and air even though you're at home. The transfer rate into hospital is very low, but if you do end up having to transfer into hospital, that happens very quickly. Obviously you've got a midwife there who can call instantly. Either you drive together or she can get an ambulance, but the transfer is not something to worry about. Also, just generally the statistics, you are so much less likely to need any interventions if you're having a home birth. It's all kind of what they talk about in hypnobirthing, where you will just feel so much more comfortable, so safe, that your birth is likely to go a lot more smoothly. So the hypnobirthing talks about your calm state, or the kind of fight or flight state that we get into. The calm state is when you're calm and releasing oxytocin, which you need to give birth. One of the things that they inject into you for an induction is some like fake oxytocin to get it started, and your body is naturally releasing a lot of that if you feel calm. And then if you feel like that flight or fight response where you feel at all stressed, you release adrenaline, and adrenaline stops labour. And so for me, I think the journey into hospital, I felt quite nervous and it was quite pressured, and I think then I was releasing adrenaline, and that slightly slowed down the labour. Although actually then once I was in the incredible pool room, it obviously then was, you know, he was out within 2 hours. But if you're just at home, you're releasing oxytocin naturally. It's just statistically you're less likely to need interventions because it's just it goes so naturally. Also, you are sent your own personal midwife. She's more likely going to be a really senior midwife because it's a midwife that they know can go out on her own. They then also send a second one right in the final stages of labour. So you have 1 and then 2 midwives who are there solely for you. They're in your home, there just to look after you. And so they pick up on every possible sign so quickly. Whereas actually if you're in hospital, they leave your room for a while, they're maybe sorting out something else, they're doing other things as well. And of course you're having exceptional care in the hospital, but not as kind of designated just to you. And so if, for example, your waters break and there's some meconium in the waters, at home, the midwife will notice that instantly, and you can be transferred into hospital and everything sorted so quickly, whereas that might not be picked up on quite as quickly in hospital, because it would take you noticing that maybe your waters are looking slightly brown to then ring on your buzzer to get a midwife to come in, where maybe she wasn't actually going to come back and check on you for another 20 minutes, half an hour, because you were labouring okay. And it's actually at home, you could feel nervous because you're away from a hospital, but you're actually getting really, really dedicated care. You still can have pain relief. You're having incredible care, transfers are nothing to worry about. And then yeah, obviously post birth, you're in your own home straight away. You don't have any of that kind of hospital ward, sharing a room with another crying baby or other families. You don't have any of that, you're just in the privacy of your own home. And so I think for me, I love this. I love the idea of home birth. I love the idea of my whole labour just being here in this room, no journey into hospital. But I also, if I'm honest, am slightly put off by what feels like a faff. Although I've spoken to friends who've had a home birth and everyone's story is always incredible. They've always loved it. They just sound amazing, and you're just so peaceful and calm and in your own space. And I think it does really tie in with hypnobirthing. I think I've done some videos on hypnobirthing as well, which you should check out if you haven't seen. Or I'll also link the book below that is my all-time favourite book of my life. But it's a book all about hypnobirthing by Catherine Graves, and she talks in much more detail about some of the stuff I've touched on, about the kind of your calm state and your flight and fight state. It's just incredible statistics about basically your mind completely controlling the way your labour goes, and that actually our body is just a big lump of meat and everything comes from our brain. And so if your brain is ready for labour, it's got exercises ready and is prepared and has been prepared and knows what it's doing, because obviously labour's you don't necessarily know what you're doing yet, but knows that it can cope and knows that it is capable of it. And your mind really can see your body through, and like the effects that your brain has on your body is just incredible. Like gives examples. Like I'm really aware, I've spoken about this in my hypnobirthing video, but like if you're embarrassed you blush, or if someone's feeling really down, then often you'll notice they're walking with their shoulders hunched, and these effects that our mental state have physically. And I think for me, staying at home mentally, I just feel safer, I feel more secure, and so that will then have an effect on my body being able to cope with labour, which is what I found with Jet. Once I was in that pool room, I felt so safe, so calm, that then the last part of that labour was an incredible experience, so empowering, hard work beyond words, but amazing and so positive. And so I think just one of the main positive things about home birth is that you are really creating that setting for yourself. You're really creating this calm setting that soothes your mind and helps you just be in a really positive state of mind for birth, that you don't feel rushed or panicked or taken out of your comfort zone, but that you feel really safe and really secure, and then can have this really positive empowering birth, but we'll see. I don't think I mind because I've had the hospital experience and it was really positive. I think if I'm totally honest, I think what I'll try and do is, if we do go into hospital, I think we'll try and book a private room for after the birth, so that for that first day or however long we're in hospital after the birth, we get the private room, because it was so lovely to just be on our own with our baby, no other noises, because it's even on a different floor to the main maternity ward. But yeah, I feel really excited about labour. Only 2 weeks to go. Done all my hypnobirthing exercises and whatnot. I think home birth or hospital birth, I'm excited, but I've definitely been won over so much to home birth. I really prejudged it. I thought it was really slightly odd, and now I realise that in a way it's the most natural thing you could do. Just stay where you are, stay where you feel safe, stay where you feel comfortable, and give birth there. But we'll see. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that was informative if you're thinking at all about home birth. Anyway, please do check out, we've got a lot of pregnancy videos, a lot of pregnancy updates, and then other family vlogs and things, so check those out. And see you soon. No, I'll definitely have done a video before I have the baby. Well, unless it comes early. We'll see. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Have a lovely day. Peace out.